You post a photo. 10 people say you look great. One person says, you look tired. 3 hours later, the compliments have dissolved into a pleasant fog, while the word tired has rented an apartment in your skull. Why can one insult outlast 10 compliments? The short answer is that your brain does not count opinions like votes. It sorts information by urgency. Compliments usually signal that everything is fine. An insult might signal a problem with your reputation, your relationships, or your place in the group. And possible problems receive priority processing. This is often called the negativity bias, the broad tendency for negative information to affect us more strongly than equally intense positive information. But there is no universal 10-to-1 ratio. Depending on the person, the comment, and who said it, one compliment can transform a day, while one insult can be forgotten before lunch. Still, the basic imbalance is real enough to feel extremely familiar. In a 2022 experiment, researchers recorded the electrical activity of the brain while 79 Dutch university students read repeated insults, compliments, and neutral descriptions. Some statements used the participant's own name, others described somebody else. The insults were not subtle. Participants read sentences equivalent to "Linda is horrible" or "Paula is an idiot." Compliments included statements like, "Linda is impressive." This continued again and again, because apparently, science sometimes requires insulting volunteers several hundred times. The researchers were especially interested in whether the brain would get used to it. About 200 to 250 milliseconds after the critical word appeared, insults produced a larger electrical response, known as the P2. This response is associated with rapid attention capture. The insulting word was getting extra processing very early, before anyone had time to write a thoughtful review of the speaker's character. Even after heavy repetition, that early difference between insults and compliments remained. The brain kept flagging the negative words as unusually important. But the study did not prove that insults permanently hurt more, or that they always outweigh a specific number of compliments. Later brain responses linked with more sustained processing faded as the experiment continued. Insults also did not produce greater skin conductance than compliments, meaning the researchers did not find a matching increase in that measure of bodily arousal. And these were isolated sentences in a laboratory, not a close friend attacking someone's deepest insecurity during Thanksgiving dinner. So the careful conclusion is smaller, but still fascinating. Insulting language can capture attention extremely quickly, and one early sign of that attention remained even when the insults became highly repetitive. Why would a human brain work this way? Imagine an animal approaching a clearing. There are berries on one side and a suspicious movement on the other. If the movement is nothing, the animal has wasted a little attention. If the movement is a predator and the animal ignores it, the berries become available to another animal with better instincts. Potential dangers often impose larger costs than potential rewards offer benefits. That makes a system biased toward caution useful. It does not need to be calm, fair, or enjoyable. It just needs to keep its owner alive often enough. Human danger, however, is not limited to teeth and cliffs. We are intensely social primates. For much of human history, access to food, protection, information, childcare, and mates depended heavily on other people. Being valued by a group mattered. Rejection or a damaged reputation could be costly. An insult is therefore more than an unpleasant collection of sounds. It can be interpreted as evidence that somebody considers you incompetent, strange, selfish, weak, or otherwise less valuable as a social partner. A compliment says, "Your place here seems secure." An insult says, "There may be a problem." The second message naturally creates more questions. Do other people agree? Did I violate a rule? Is my status changing? Should I apologize, defend myself, leave, or spend the next 4 years imagining better replies in the shower? This resembles what psychologists sometimes call a sociometer. Self-esteem may partly function as a monitor of perceived social acceptance. When we sense disapproval, the alarm drops. Emotional pain pushes us to inspect the situation and possibly repair our standing. The alarm can be useful. If 3 trusted colleagues independently say you interrupt people, paying attention may improve your relationships. If your partner says a joke genuinely hurt them, dismissing the comment as mere negativity bias would be a creative way to miss the point. But alarms are designed to detect possible danger, not to deliver final truth. A smoke detector reacts to a burning house and to toast. Your social threat system can react to valuable criticism and to a bored stranger typing "cringe" beneath a video of your homemade bookshelf. The stranger may have no relevant knowledge, no good intention, and a profile picture of a sports car they do not own. Your attention system does not necessarily check the resume before sounding the alarm. Negative feedback can also feel more informative. Compliments are often expected, vague, or socially polite. Great job might mean genuine admiration. It might also also mean the meeting is over and everyone would like to escape. Criticism is more likely to suggest that something has departed from expectations. Unexpected information demands explanation. Specific criticism is especially sticky because it gives the mind material to examine. Then, rumination takes over. A compliment may be processed once. That was nice. An insult is processed, reopened, cross-examined, compared with old memories, and presented to an imaginary jury. Each replay strengthens its presence. We often say an insult stayed with us, but sometimes we are actively carrying it from room to room. Ambiguity makes this worse. A clearly ridiculous insult can be discarded. A criticism that is 5% plausible may become an endless investigation. The mind dislikes unresolved social threats, so it keeps returning to the file. Our existing self-image matters too. Feedback that matches a fear can slide neatly into place. If you secretly worry that you are boring, one careless comment about your story may feel like confirmation. 10 compliments calling you interesting must compete with the model already living in your head. Research on social feedback suggests that self-esteem and existing self-knowledge influence how people respond to praise and criticism. For someone with a negative self-view, positive feedback may feel inaccurate or suspicious. The insult does not necessarily stick because it is more truthful. It may stick because it fits an old prediction. This is why telling someone to just focus on the compliments can fail. Their brain may classify the compliments as kindness, luck, or politeness, while classifying the insult as evidence. None of this works identically for everyone. Age, mood, personality, self-esteem, past rejection, and the source of the feedback all matter. Older adults, for example, often show more attention and memory for positive information than younger adults. Anxiety and depression can also change how negative and positive self-relevant information is processed. Context matters even more. An insult from a stranger is not the same as criticism from a respected mentor. A generic attack is not the same as specific advice. Public humiliation is not the same as a quiet correction from someone who wants you to succeed. Modern platforms combine many of the ingredients that make negative feedback difficult to release. The comment is written down so it can be reread. It may be public, so the threat feels social. Numbers show how many people liked it. The speaker's expression and tone are missing, which leaves room for a hostile interpretation. In person, a friend might say, "That haircut is certainly a decision," then smile and clarify. Online, you receive the sentence at 11:48 p.m. from an account named Concrete Wolf 47. Your brain must now reconstruct an entire social situation from 6 words and a cartoon skull. So what can you do when one comment hijacks the evening? First, stop treating emotional intensity as proof. The fact that a remark captured your attention quickly does not make it accurate. Ask what kind of signal it is. Is the source informed? Is the criticism specific? Does it identify something you can change? Have trustworthy people noticed the same pattern? Or is it simply contempt wearing the costume of feedback? Useful criticism usually contains information. "You are terrible" contains almost none. The introduction was confusing because the main point arrived too late, offers something testable. You can also separate the message from its delivery. A rude comment may contain a useful observation. A polite comment may be empty. Extract the evidence, then discard the unnecessary poison. Compliments sometimes need more deliberate processing because the brain may not automatically hold them in attention. Instead of instantly saying, "They were just being nice," pause and identify what was actually praised. Save meaningful messages. Recall the specific moment. Let the positive information become part of your evidence rather than background decoration. This is not about forcing yourself into constant positivity. It is about correcting an uneven trial in which the prosecution gets unlimited speaking time and the defense is told to wrap up. And when you compliment someone else, be specific. "You handled that question clearly" is more believable and memorable than "You're amazing." Humans often underestimate how good a genuine compliment will make another person feel, so we give fewer than we could. One insult can outlast 10 compliments because the brain is not a happiness calculator. It is a prediction machine with an anxious security department. Negative social information receives priority because it might reveal danger, rejection, or a mistake that needs fixing. Sometimes that system protects us. Sometimes it spends 6 hours investigating a comment written by Concrete Wolf 47. The goal is not to silence the alarm. It is to remember that an alarm is a request to examine the evidence, not a command to believe the worst.